Have you ever wanted to have a career in cybersecurity, but you didn't know where to start? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you a resource you can use to learn how to be a cybersecurity professional and get practical experience in whatever field you would like to go into. The resource I'm talking about is TryHackMe.com. I think I may have mentioned TryHackMe in one other video I've made, and that was back during their Advent of Cyber event during Christmas. But in this video, I wanted to go over TryHackMe from a little bit more of a broad perspective to show you how you can use the resources on this website to teach yourself how to become a cybersecurity professional. So the first thing you want to do is create a free account, and this will give you access to all kinds of labs and learning paths and all kinds of resources that will help you get started on your journey to your career in cybersecurity. There is an option to subscribe to a VIP level account, which I think costs like $10 or $15 per month or something like that. And that does give you access to a few more features and some extra labs and things like that that you don't have access to with a free account. But a free account will definitely give you access to plenty to get you started. Once you create your account, you can click on Learn up here at the top, and that will take you to the page with all the learning paths that they have available. I'm going to look at the Junior Penetration Tester learning path that they have, because penetration testing is kind of what I do and what a lot of my videos are geared towards. But if there's anything else in cybersecurity that interests you, like for example, red teaming or something working in defense, like in the SOC or anything like that, then there are certainly different things that are available to you. For this video though, I'm just going to look at the Junior Penetration Tester path. So once you're on the Junior Penetration Tester path, you can look through and see all these different things that are going to be covered in this learning path. And that starts with just an introduction to cybersecurity, and it goes through what web hacking is. It talks about specific tools, like for example, Burp Suite, which I've covered a lot on this channel. It also talks about vulnerability research, which is just the skill of finding vulnerabilities and figuring out how to exploit them when you see them in the wild. And it just covers a wide variety of the topics that you would need if you were a complete beginner and wanting to start your career path into becoming a penetration tester. Now, if we expand the Introduction to Cybersecurity section, we can see that there are 3 bullet points: the Intro to Offensive Security, Intro to Defensive Security, and one about just the different careers in cybersecurity. Under Intro to Offensive Security, we see that this is going to let you hack your very first website and experience what an ethical hacker's job would be. Since this is designed for beginners, it does a very good job of kind of giving you breadcrumbs all along the way to sort of show you what you should do to get to the next step. But the first thing we're going to do is click Start Machine. So that might take a few minutes to boot up, but once it does, you should see your screen split into a split view with this other machine over on the right, and this is going to be your attack box. And this attack box is essentially just a virtual machine, which I've talked about virtual machines a lot in other videos I've made in the past, but this is just one that TryHackMe provides to you that is inside their lab environment and can access their different labs they're going to provide in the different lessons. And you'll also see that inside that attack box, it is open to a website that is fakebank.com. And this is the web application that we're going to be hacking in this lab. And like I said, TryHackMe does do a very good job of kind of walking you along the way and holding your hand and showing you exactly what you should do, because again, this is meant for complete beginners. So to follow their steps, we're going to open a terminal, and we're going to do that with this button up at the top. And our main objective in this lab is to find hidden websites, which is a very common thing that you might do during a regular pen test for a web application. And they instruct us to use a tool called gobuster to do this, which is a very good tool that I've used many times. But if you don't want to use gobuster, there are many other tools that do a very similar thing. And a lot of enterprise level tools and other scanner tools will have this same functionality built into them. For example, the Burp Suite Professional Edition has a built-in scanner where you can scan API endpoints, and they have like a spider functionality as well that will search for these hidden directories inside Burp Suite. But to follow along with the tool used in this lab, we're going to use gobuster, and we're going to use -u for the URL that we want to test, which in this case is going to be fakebank.com. And we are going to go over HTTP and not HTTPS, which, just by the way, the fact that it's going over HTTP would be a security finding in a pen test. And we also need to provide it with a word list. In this VM that they have in their lab environment, they actually have a word list already ready for us inside that desktop directory that we can just access directly with wordlist.txt. But if you have a Kali VM or a Parrot VM or any of those pre-compiled security-focused VM images that have a lot of tools and things that pen testers and other security professionals use, there usually is going to be a directory in that machine that has pre-populated word lists. You'll just have to look at some documentation to figure out exactly where they're stored. After we have our word list selected, we're also going to put dir at the end of our command to show the mode that we want gobuster to run this command in. So that only took a minute to finish, but that's probably because it was a very short word list. What this tool essentially does is goes through the entire word list that you give it, and it tries to see if those words in that word list match what might be a hidden directory within that API. And we can see that it found two directories. One is /images, and honestly, that's not that interesting. Most websites will have an images directory just storing all of the images that are populated throughout the website, but it also has a directory for bank transfer. That sounds interesting. And now that we've found that directory, we're just going to go to our web browser and we're going to type in fakebank.com/bank-transfer, which is what we found with gobuster. And if we go to that URL, now we see an admin portal where you can transfer money from one bank account to another bank account and the amount you're sending. And there's no authentication or any password or anything needed. We can just send money. And if we just back up one so we can find our bank account, which is 8881, since we know our account number, we can send money from any random account that we want to our account, and it should send us money. So the to account, we want it to obviously be ours, 8881. And the from account, they actually suggest in the instructions in the lab to go from the account 2276. So I guess I'll do that. And I'm going to send $2,000, which is what they suggest. And send money. And I have successfully completed the transfer. And now if I go back to fakebank.com, I can see that I just had that $2,000 transfer successful. And also you see the little message at the top saying the answer to the TryHackMe question is bank-hacked. And that's where you come down right here. It says above your account balance, you should now see a message indicating the answer to this question. Can you find the answer you need? And we're just going to type bank-hacked and submit. Your answer is correct. You've started a streak. Keep it going for 6 days for a badge. This is something that TryHackMe does to sort of gamify it and convince you to keep your practice up consistently so you can improve your skills. So if you do these challenges multiple days in a row, you can unlock badges. And depending on how many days in a row you solve some of these challenges, the better badge you'll get. So now at the top, you can see that we're 20% of the way through Intro to Offensive Security. And there's some more little questions you need to answer. A lot of it is just knowledge things and just figuring out how things work. Like for this one, it just says terminate the machine by clicking the red terminate button at the top of the page. And once you've done that, you can click complete. But once you've completed everything, then the Intro to Offensive Security section will be complete. And then once you've completed the offensive security part, then you can move on to Intro to Defensive Security, and it will go through a little primer of what defensive security work is like. And that will get you on the path to completing the Junior Penetration Tester learning path. And once you finish all of these modules and get through all of the paths, you will have a pretty good understanding of what it takes to be a Junior Penetration Tester. And you can develop these kind of skills that will come in handy in any sort of interview process or anything like that. And you can add these completed learning paths and things like this to your resume. I know this was a very basic lab and simple walkthrough, and some people watching this may have already known how to do all these things, but I thought this was a good opportunity to show anyone who wasn't familiar with TryHackMe how it works. And also it was a good way to show anyone who might be a pure beginner somewhere that they could get started. I personally know multiple people who I've worked with in the past who didn't really have any formal training in cybersecurity. They may have been working just in like the IT department at a bank or something, or working in something that wasn't really security related at all. But then they started doing things like TryHackMe and other websites similar to this, using these free resources. And things like this gave them those skills and the things they could take into an interview in order to jump from a very basic IT position to something that was a specific security focused career like a penetration tester.